Life has a way of making us believe that our best days are behind us, that the moments of glory, success, or happiness we once knew are chapters already written and closed. But that is nothing more than a lie whispered by doubt and fear. The truth is, no matter where you stand right now, whether you feel stuck, broken, or just uncertain, today holds the power to begin something extraordinary. Every sunrise is a blank page. Every heartbeat is a reminder that you are still here, still capable, still in control of the pen that writes your story. Too often, we wait for the perfect moment to start again. We tell ourselves, when things calm down, or when I feel ready, as if readiness is some magical state that arrives on its own. But life doesn't work that way. The moment to begin isn't tomorrow, next month, or after every problem disappears. The moment is now. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to take your next step forward. The best chapter of your life will not be written by chance. It will be written by your decision to start today. Starting doesn't always mean a giant leap. Sometimes it's a quiet choice, a small action, a subtle shift in direction. It's sending that first application, making that first call, speaking that first word of courage, or taking that first step toward the life you dream of. You don't need to have the entire book planned out. You only need to begin the next sentence. Every great story unfolds one line at a time. Your past does not disqualify you. It prepares you. The mistakes, heartbreaks, and setbacks you've endured are not the end of your story. They are the rough drafts that have given you wisdom, strength, and resilience for what comes next. Today is not just another day. It's an opportunity disguised as ordinary hours. It's the space where you get to choose a different ending, to rewrite what was broken, to rise from what tried to hold you down. You have more power than you give yourself credit for. You have survived every challenge so far, and that's proof enough that you can face whatever comes next. The only thing standing between you and your best chapter is the decision to turn the page. You are not here by accident. There is a reason your heart still beats, your lungs still fill with air, and your mind still imagines a life better than the one you have now. That vision isn't a fantasy. It's a calling. And when you choose to answer it, you awaken the version of yourself that is unstoppable. No matter how many times you've stumbled, the simple act of standing up today and trying again is enough to change your entire story. So take a deep breath. Let go of the weight of what you cannot change and hold on tightly to the truth that you can begin again right now. Don't let fear tell you it's too late. Don't let comfort convince you to stay where you are. Turn the page. Write boldly. Live fully. Your best chapter doesn't start when life feels perfect. It starts when you decide it's time, and that time is today. Every day you wake up, you are handed a gift, a blank page, untouched and unmarked, waiting for you to decide what will be written on it. It does not matter how chaotic yesterday was, how heavy last week felt, or how many times you've stumbled before. The past may have shaped you, but it does not own you. The beauty of life is that every sunrise brings with it the chance to begin again. This is not just poetic optimism. It is a truth rooted in the way life moves forward. Time does not pause for our regrets or dwell on our mistakes. It flows, carrying us with it into a future we still have the power to shape. Imagine your life as a book. Each day is a new page, and every choice you make is a sentence, a paragraph, a plot twist. Some pages in your story might be messy, full of scribbles, crossed out words, and painful moments you wish you could erase. Others might be filled with beauty, laughter, and triumphs you'll cherish forever. But here's the secret. No matter how the last page looked, the one in front of you is clean, pure, and ready for something new. The ink from yesterday does not have to bleed into today unless you choose to carry it over. Many people spend years trapped in the chapters of their past. They replay old mistakes, relive old heartbreaks, and dwell on moments they cannot change. They let those moments define their worth and dictate their future. But holding on to the past is like reading the same painful chapter over and over, never moving forward to see what happens next. You cannot discover the beautiful moments ahead if you refuse to turn the page. Every day is an invitation to release what no longer serves you and step into the possibility of something greater. Starting fresh doesn't mean forgetting your past or pretending it never happened. Your past has value. It's where your lessons come from, where your strength was forged, and where your character was shaped. But it does mean you refuse to let those moments chain you to who you used to be. You can honor your past without being ruled by it. You can acknowledge your scars without letting them limit your vision for the future. Some people wait for big events to feel like a fresh start. A new year, a birthday, a job change, or a move to a new city. And while those moments can be powerful, the truth is you don't need to wait for them. You can choose to start fresh on a random Tuesday afternoon, in the middle of a hard week, or right after a bad decision. Renewal is not tied to a date on the calendar. It's tied to a decision in your heart. That decision says, I will no longer let yesterday decide who I am today. Of course, starting fresh is not always easy. You may feel weighed down by guilt, fear, or doubt. You may hear the voice in your head telling you it's too late, that you've made too many mistakes, or that change isn't possible for someone like you. But those voices are nothing more than echoes from an old chapter. They don't know the strength you have now. They don't know the resilience you've built from every challenge you've faced. The fact that you are here, breathing, reading these words, means you've already survived more than you once thought possible. And if you've survived, that you can certainly take a step towards something new. The key to seeing every day as a blank page is to be intentional with how you fill it. If you wake up carrying yesterday's negativity, you'll end up rewriting the same day over and over again. But if you approach each day as a fresh canvas, you'll find the courage to try something new, even if it's uncomfortable. You can choose to speak words that uplift instead of words that tear down. You can choose to take action instead of waiting for circumstances to change. You can choose to see opportunities where before you only saw obstacles. It's also important to realize that fresh starts aren't about perfection. You might begin your day with good intentions and still stumble. You might set a goal and fail to meet it. But a blank page doesn't mean the page must be flawless. It simply means it's yours to write on. You are allowed to make mistakes along the way because those mistakes are part of your story. In fact, they are often the moments that make your future victories more meaningful. Life is full of possibilities, but you must be willing to reach for them. You cannot write a new page if you keep staring at the old one. You cannot move forward if you keep looking back. The future belongs to those who dare to begin again, even when they feel tired, even when the odds seem impossible, and even when fear tells them they can't. So, when you wake up tomorrow, or even later today, pause for a moment and imagine that blank page in your hands. Ask yourself, what story do I want to write today? What small step can I take that my future self will thank me for? What is one thing I can let go of so I can move closer to the life I want? These questions shift your focus from what you've lost to what you can create. The blank page of today is a gift not everyone gets to open. If you are reading this, it means you still have a chance to rewrite your story. Don't waste it by filling it with the same old fears and excuses. Fill it with courage, gratitude, effort, and hope. Choose words and actions that move you forward. And remember, even if yesterday was the worst page of your life, today can still be the beginning of the best chapter you've ever written. The power to start fresh is already in your hands. You just have to pick up the pen and write. We often convince ourselves that we need to wait for the perfect moment before taking action. We say we'll start that new habit when life calms down. We'll pursue that dream when the timing feels right, or we'll make that important change when we have more resources, more confidence, or more certainty. But the truth is that perfect moment we're waiting for will never arrive. Life will always be messy, unpredictable, and full of distractions. If you keep waiting for everything to align perfectly, you will spend your entire life standing still. The right time to begin is not some distant day in the future. It is here. It is now, in this moment. The idea of a perfect moment is comforting because it allows us to postpone action. We tell ourselves we're being wise or strategic, but in reality, we're often just avoiding discomfort. Starting something new requires courage, and courage rarely feels comfortable. If you wait until you feel completely ready, you'll be waiting forever, because readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You don't suddenly wake up one morning with zero fear, zero uncertainty, and a clear map of the future. You choose to begin despite those things, and that choice is what sets change in motion. Life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges in our path. There will always be bills to pay, obligations to meet, and problems to solve. If you believe you must fix everything before you can take your first step, you will never take it. The reality is that progress doesn't happen because conditions are perfect. It happens because someone decided to move forward, even when they weren't sure how it would all work out. Every great achievement you've ever admired started with someone taking action in less than ideal circumstances. Think about people who have accomplished incredible things. They didn't wait until every question had an answer or every risk was eliminated. They began with what they had, where they were, and learned along the way. The perfect time didn't present itself, they created it through action. You have that same ability. The door to your next chapter will not swing open because the world hands you an invitation. It will open because you pushed it yourself. We often imagine that starting now means rushing or acting recklessly, but that's not the case. It means recognizing that movement, even in small steps, is better than standing still while you wait for an imaginary ideal. Taking the first step can be as simple as making a phone call, writing a plan, or dedicating just 10 minutes to your goal today. Those small beginnings compound over time into something extraordinary. Waiting, on the other hand, compounds into regret. Fear is one of the biggest reasons we delay. We worry about failing, about what others will think, or about whether we'll measure up. But fear doesn't go away by waiting. It grows stronger. The longer you hesitate, the more reasons your mind will invent for why now is not the time. The only way to shrink fear is to act in spite of it. Action builds confidence, and confidence makes the next step easier. The truth is, conditions rarely get easier just because time passes. More often than not, waiting makes the climb steeper. Opportunities that exist today may not be there tomorrow. Energy you have now may not be as abundant later. People who can help you now might not be in your life a year from now. When you delay, you risk losing not only time, but also the unique chances available in this moment. That's why beginning now is so important. It makes use of what is in your hands today before it slips away. Another trap is believing that we need to have the perfect plan before starting. While planning is valuable, it's impossible to anticipate every twist and turn on the journey. The path often reveals itself only after you've begun walking it. If you keep trying to see the entire road before taking the first step, you'll remain stuck at the starting line. Progress doesn't come from perfect planning. It comes from consistent movement, adapting as you go, and learning through experience. When you choose to start now, you also send a message to yourself that your dreams matter, that your goals are worth the effort, and that your future is worth investing in today, not someday. This mindset shift changes how you approach life. Instead of passively waiting for opportunities, you actively create them. Instead of being a spectator in your own story, you become the author. It's important to understand that starting now doesn't guarantee instant success. You may face setbacks, make mistakes, or realize you need to change direction. But every step you take today, no matter how imperfect, moves you closer to your goal. Waiting, on the other hand, keeps you exactly where you are. You can adjust a moving ship, but you can't steer one that's anchored in the harbor. So, if there's something you've been putting off, starting a project, improving your health, learning a skill, mending a relationship, stop telling yourself you'll begin when the time is right. That time is an illusion. The moment you have right now is real. It is the only moment you can act in, the only moment you can control. Every great tomorrow starts with a decision made today. The perfect moment is not coming. The stars will not align, the noise of life will not completely fade, and the feeling of total certainty will never arrive. But you have this moment right now, and that is more than enough. Take the step. Begin the thing. Write the first sentence. Make the first move. Speak the first word. Do it before you're ready. Do it while you're still unsure. Because the right time is not out there waiting for you. It's already here. And it's asking you to begin. When we think about change, we often imagine it happening in big, dramatic ways. A sudden breakthrough, a massive leap, or a moment that shifts everything overnight. But in reality, the most profound and lasting transformations rarely happen in an instant. They are built slowly, quietly, and steadily through small, consistent actions taken over time. It's the daily choices, the habits we repeat, and the little steps we take that accumulate into something far greater than we can see in the beginning. Consistency is often underestimated because it doesn't always feel exciting. Small actions can seem insignificant in the moment, and that's where many people lose motivation. They expect instant results, and when those results don't appear, they assume their efforts aren't working. But the truth is, consistency is like planting seeds. You may not see anything sprouting right away, but beneath the surface, roots are forming, foundations are being laid, and change is taking shape. One day, seemingly all at once, you'll see the growth, but it will have been building quietly for a long time. Think of someone learning to play a musical instrument. Practicing for just 15 minutes a day might feel too small to make a difference, but over weeks and months, those short sessions add up. The skill improves, the muscle memory develops, and before long, the player can do things they once thought impossible. The same principle applies to fitness, learning, personal growth, and every other area of life. Big results are simply the visible sum of many small, consistent efforts. Small actions are powerful because they are sustainable. It's much easier to commit to something manageable every day than to rely on bursts of extreme effort followed by burnout. A person who walks for 20 minutes every day will make far more progress over a year than someone who spends one intense week at the gym and then quits. Consistency allows you to build momentum, and momentum creates its own energy. Once you establish a routine, continuing becomes easier than starting over. Another advantage of small, consistent actions is that they allow for steady improvement without overwhelming you. Change can feel intimidating when the goal is huge. For example, writing a book may feel impossible when you look at the end result, but writing 1 page a day is manageable. In a year, those single pages will add up to an entire manuscript. By breaking a big goal into small steps and doing them consistently, you make the impossible possible. It's also important to recognize that consistency compounds. Just like money invested over time grows through compound interest, the benefits of repeated actions multiply. Learning one new word every day won't just give you 365 new words by the end of the year. It will also improve your ability to understand, connect, and learn more quickly. Practicing kindness in small ways every day won't just change how others see you. It will reshape your character and how you see yourself. The challenge is that small actions can feel too easy to skip. Missing 1 day of effort might seem harmless, and sometimes it is. But when small lapses become habits, progress stops. The reverse is also true. Small wins can feel too minor to celebrate, but they are worth acknowledging. Every time you choose to follow through, you're proving to yourself that you can be trusted to take action, and that builds self-confidence. Discipline plays a big role here. Motivation may get you started, but it's discipline that keeps you going when the excitement fades. And the more you stick to your small actions, the more they become automatic. Over time, you won't have to force yourself to do them. They'll simply be part of your daily rhythm. That's when transformation really begins to take hold, because the behaviors that create change are now embedded into your lifestyle. It's also helpful to remember that small, consistent actions influence more than just your personal goals. They impact the people around you. A few kind words spoken each day can strengthen relationships. A little extra effort in your work can open doors you didn't expect. Consistency builds a reputation, and a strong reputation can change the trajectory of your life. People notice when you show up every day, when you keep your promises, and when you continue moving forward, even when it's hard. The beauty of this approach is that it works for anyone, regardless of where you're starting. You don't need extraordinary talent, unlimited resources, or perfect conditions. You only need the willingness to begin with what you have and the discipline to keep going. Whether you want to get healthier, learn a skill, improve your mindset, or create something new, the formula is the same: small action plus consistency over time equals transformation. And when change comes, it often feels sudden to others, but you'll know it was the result of quiet persistence. People may call you lucky, but you'll understand that luck was simply preparation meeting opportunity. An opportunity you created by showing up every day. So if you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure where to begin, start small. Don't wait for the perfect plan or the perfect moment. Pick one thing you can do today that moves you in the direction of your goal. Do it again tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. It might not look like much at first, but give it time. Just as drops of water can wear away stone, you're small. Consistent actions will shape your future in ways you can't yet imagine. You don't have to take massive leaps to change your life. You just have to keep stepping forward, one small, consistent action at a time. Those little steps, repeated faithfully, will carry you further than you ever thought possible. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the life you're living now, the life that once felt so far away, was built in quiet moments, in the daily choice to keep going, and in the power of never giving up. It's easy to look at past mistakes and setbacks as proof that we've failed or that we're not capable of achieving what we dream about. We replay the moments when we made the wrong choice, trusted the wrong person, or took a risk that didn't work out, and we label those experiences as endings. But the truth is, those moments are not the final chapters of our lives. They are lessons shaping and preparing us for the growth that lies ahead. Every setback carries within it the seeds of wisdom, strength, and resilience, if we're willing to see it that way. Mistakes are a natural part of life. No one moves forward without ever stumbling. The people we admire most, the ones who have achieved incredible things, are not people who never failed. They are people who learn from their failures and use those lessons to grow stronger. Every time you make a mistake, you gain insight you didn't have before. You learn what doesn't work, who you can trust, and what boundaries you need to set. That knowledge becomes a powerful tool for the future. The problem is that many people treat mistakes like permanent marks on their identity. They start to believe that because they failed once, or even many times, they are destined to fail again. But failure is an event, not a person. It's something that happens to you, not something you are. When you see mistakes as experiences rather than labels, you free yourself to grow from them instead of being trapped by them. Setbacks, too, can feel devastating in the moment. They often happen when you least expect them. Losing a job you counted on, a relationship ending, an opportunity slipping away. It's natural to feel disappointed or even crushed when these things happen. But setbacks don't mean your journey is over. In many cases, they redirect you towards something better. They force you to pause, to reevaluate, and to approach life in a new way. Sometimes, what feels like the end is simply the beginning of a new path you wouldn't have considered otherwise. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you're challenged, when things don't go according to plan, and when you have to adapt. If everything in life went smoothly, you wouldn't develop the skills or character needed to handle bigger opportunities. Mistakes and setbacks are like training grounds. They stretch you, test you, and prepare you for the challenges ahead. The lessons they teach often can't be learned in any other way. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to start asking, what can I learn from this? Instead of, why did this happen to me? This question turns you from a victim of your circumstances into a student of them. When you adopt this mindset, you stop dwelling on what went wrong and start looking for ways to use the experience to your advantage. Maybe a failed business taught you how to manage money better. Maybe a broken relationship helped you understand your worth and what you truly need in a partner. Maybe missing out on one opportunity gave you the time to prepare for an even bigger one. It's also important to give yourself grace during these moments. Learning from mistakes doesn't mean you won't feel pain, frustration, or regret. Those emotions are normal, and they're part of the healing process. The key is not to stay stuck in them. Feel what you need to feel, but then look forward. The lessons are behind you, but the growth is ahead. Many of the world's most successful people faced failure before achieving their goals. Thomas Edison famously said he didn't fail, but found 10,000 ways that didn't work before inventing the light bulb. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job, yet she went on to become one of the most influential figures in media. These examples remind us that mistakes and setbacks aren't dead ends. They are detours that can lead to something far greater than what we originally imagined. When you change the way you see these experiences, you also change the way you respond to them. Instead of being crushed by disappointment, you start to see it as an opportunity to grow. Instead of fearing failure, you embrace it as a stepping stone. Over time, this mindset builds resilience, the ability to get back up, keep going, and keep learning, no matter how many times you're knocked down. Another thing to remember is that your mistakes and setbacks give you empathy for others. They remind you that everyone is human, everyone struggles, and everyone makes wrong turns sometimes. This understanding can deepen your relationships, make you a better leader, and help you connect with others on a more meaningful level. In this way, the lessons from your own challenges can ripple outward, positively impacting the people around you. You can't erase your past, but you can redefine it. Instead of seeing it as a series of failures, see it as your personal training ground. Every setback taught you something valuable, even if you didn't recognize it at the time. Every mistake brought you one step closer to the wisdom you need for the next stage of your life. The growth you're capable of wouldn't be possible without the challenges you've faced. So if you're looking at your past with regret, shift your focus. Ask yourself how those moments shaped you. Look for the strength you developed, the skills you gained, and the perspective you earned. Remember that no mistake or setback has the power to define you unless you let it. They are not the end of your story. They are chapters that make your story richer, more inspiring, and more powerful. Life will continue to bring challenges, and you will continue to make mistakes. That's part of being human. But each time it happens, you'll be more prepared than before. You'll know that setbacks are not signals to stop, but invitations to grow. And with each lesson learned, you'll be building the strength and wisdom you need to create the future you've been working toward all along. ChatGPT said, no matter what your past looks like, no matter how many chapters have been filled with pain, disappointment, or choices you wish you could undo, you still hold the pen in your hand. Your life story is not fixed. It is not carved in stone, sealed, or predetermined. You have the power to change the direction of your life, and that power lies in a single choice, deciding to turn the page today. You are not bound to repeat the same patterns forever, and you are not stuck in the same chapter unless you choose to stay there. The beauty of life is that it offers new beginnings every day, but they require your participation. Turning the page is a conscious decision to stop living in the weight of what has been and start stepping into the possibility of what can be. It's about releasing the grip on the narrative that has kept you trapped. Whether that narrative says you're not good enough, that you've already failed, or that nothing will ever change, and daring to write something new. For many people, the hardest part is believing that change is actually possible. The mind loves to cling to the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. You may have replayed the same struggles so many times that they feel like your permanent reality. But just because you've lived one way for years doesn't mean you must live that way forever. The story you've been telling yourself about who you are and what your life can be is not the truth. It's just the version you've chosen to hold on to. And you can choose a new version starting right now. Turning the page doesn't require you to have every detail figured out. You don't have to know exactly how the next chapter will unfold. You simply need to take the first step forward. That step might be deciding to forgive yourself, setting a new goal, walking away from what's been hurting you, or daring to try something you've been too afraid to attempt. You don't need certainty to begin. You just need the willingness to move. There's something powerful that happens when you decide to change your story. Suddenly, instead of being a passive character in your life, you become the author. You stop waiting for someone else to rescue you, for circumstances to shift, or for the perfect opportunity to arrive. You realize that the power to create change has been in your hands all along. This is when you stop letting life happen to you and start making life happen for you. Of course, turning the page can be uncomfortable. The unknown is always intimidating, and change often requires letting go of things that once felt safe, even if they weren't good for you. But the discomfort of growth is far better than the slow ache of staying stuck. You may feel fear, doubt, or uncertainty at first, but those feelings are simply signs that you are stepping into new territory. Every new chapter feels unfamiliar at the start, but it's in those pages that your greatest opportunities lie. It's important to remember that the past is not a waste. Even if previous chapters were filled with mistakes, loss, or regret, they have equipped you with the experience, resilience, and perspective you need for the chapter ahead. You don't have to erase them. You can use them. Every difficult moment you've survived has prepared you to face what's next with strength you might not even realize you have. Your story doesn't need to be perfect for it to be powerful. The decision to turn the page is also an act of self-respect. It's a declaration that you value your life enough not to spend it stuck in the same cycle. It's a refusal to let the past dictate your future. Too many people waste years waiting for change to happen to them, not realizing that change begins when they decide it's time. You can't control every circumstance, but you can control how you respond, and that choice changes everything. There will be voices, both internal and external, that tell you it's too late, that you've missed your chance, or that you're not capable of something different. But those voices are echoes of your old chapter, not predictions of your future. They come from fear, not truth. The moment you take action toward a new story, you begin proving them wrong. You'll see that you are capable of more than you've allowed yourself to believe. Small actions are enough to begin. You don't need a dramatic overnight transformation. Decide today to do one thing that aligns with the story you want to live, and then do another tomorrow. As the days pass, those actions will begin to rewrite the trajectory of your life. And the more you follow through, the more you'll believe in your own ability to shape your future. Think of the times you've read a book and reached a chapter that was slow, frustrating, or painful to get through. What kept you turning the pages? The belief that something better was ahead. Your life is no different. You don't know what the next page holds, but you can choose to believe it has something worth reaching for. That belief is what will carry you forward, even when it's difficult. Right now, this very moment, you can decide that your story is going to change. You can decide that the past will no longer define you, and that the next chapter will be one you're proud to live. You don't need to wait for permission, approval, or a perfect plan. You just need to pick up the pen and start writing. Every great transformation begins with that simple choice goal, to turn the page today. And when you do, you'll realize something profound, that the story of your life was never about the chapters you've already read, but about the courage it took to keep turning pages. What matters most is not how the story began, but how you decide to write the rest of it. And the power to write it differently is already in your hands. Fear and comfort are two of the most subtle yet powerful forces that hold people back from living the life they truly want. On the surface, they may seem very different. Fear is sharp and intimidating, while comfort feels soft and safe. But in reality, they often work together to keep you stuck in the same place, reading the same chapter of your life over and over. If you want to step into your best chapter, you must learn to recognize how these forces operate and make the conscious choice to rise above them. Fear comes in many forms. Sometimes it's loud and obvious, like the fear of failure, rejection, or embarrassment. Other times it's quiet and disguised as overthinking, procrastination, or endless planning. It whispers in your mind that you're not ready, that you're not good enough, or that you should play it safe. And because fear is so good at sounding reasonable, many people mistake it for wisdom. But fear's job is not to protect your dreams. It's to protect your current state. It doesn't care if your current state is unfulfilling or suffocating. It just wants to keep you in familiar territory where it feels in control. Comfort works in a similar way, though it feels less threatening. Comfort is the warm, familiar space where nothing changes. It's the routines, the habits you've formed, and the environment you've grown used to. There's nothing inherently wrong with comfort. It can be a place of rest and recovery. But when comfort becomes a permanent home, instead of a temporary stop, it slowly drains your potential. Comfort convinces you that it's safer not to try, not to risk, and not to reach. Before you know it, months or even years can pass without you making meaningful progress toward the life you actually want. The real danger is when fear and comfort feed into each other. Fear keeps you from stepping outside your comfort zone, and comfort makes it easier to justify giving in to fear. Together, they build invisible walls around you, walls that only you can dismantle. The first step to breaking free is awareness, seeing these forces for what they are and recognizing how they show up in your life. Overcoming fear starts with action. Waiting for fear to disappear before you move forward is like waiting for the ocean. To be still before learning to swim, it will never happen. The way to weaken fear is to step toward it, not away from it. Every time you take action in spite of fear, you prove to yourself that it doesn't have the power to control you. That first step is often the hardest, but it's also the most important. Even if your action is small, making a phone call, speaking up, trying something new, it builds the courage to keep going. Overcoming comfort requires a different kind of strength. It's about intentionally choosing discomfort in service of something greater. Growth always comes with some level of discomfort, because it pushes you beyond what you've known. If you've ever started a new workout, learned a new skill, or moved to a new place, you know that discomfort is part of the process. But on the other side of that discomfort is transformation. The more often you step outside your comfort zone, the bigger your zone becomes, and the more possibilities open up for you. It's important to remember that fear and comfort are not signs you're doing something wrong. They're signs you're on the edge of something meaningful. You don't feel fear when you're doing something insignificant, and you don't feel discomfort when you're standing still. Both emotions are indicators that you're pushing into new territory, which is exactly where your best chapter begins. One of the most empowering choices you can make is to see fear and discomfort not as enemies, but as teachers. Fear teaches you where your boundaries are and how much further you can push them. Comfort teaches you what's familiar and challenges you to decide whether familiar is enough. When you approach them with curiosity instead of avoidance, you start to use them as tools for growth instead of obstacles to progress. The process of overcoming these obstacles doesn't happen overnight. It's built through consistent decisions to lean into what scares you and step away from what's merely comfortable. You'll still feel fear and you'll still crave comfort, but neither will control your life. And with each victory, no matter how small, you'll strengthen your belief in your ability to handle whatever comes next. Sometimes, the simplest way to break through fear and comfort is to ask yourself one question. If I let fear and comfort control me, what will my life look like a year from now, 5 years from now? The answer is often sobering. It reveals that the cost of staying safe is far greater than the cost of taking a risk. You may avoid temporary discomfort, but you also avoid growth, opportunity, and the fulfillment of your potential. Your best chapter will not be written in the confines of fear or in the safety of comfort. It will be written in the moments you decide to try even when you're scared, to move forward even when you're unsure, and to choose growth over ease. Every great story has moments of risk, challenge, and uncertainty, because that's where the transformation happens. So if you feel fear right now, take it as a sign that you're standing at the doorway to something worth pursuing. If you feel too comfortable, take it as a sign that it's time to shake things up. You have the power to decide that fear and comfort will no longer dictate your choices. You can step forward today knowing that discomfort is temporary, but the rewards of growth last a lifetime. The pen is in your hand and the page is waiting. Your best chapter is not found in the shadows of fear or in the stillness of comfort. It's found in the bold steps you take toward the unknown. And when you choose courage over fear and growth over comfort, you won't just write a better chapter. You'll rewrite the entire story of your life.